Hey, so I'm going to talk to you all today about how modern classroom model has been going in my classroom since I implemented it this year. This is actually my school in the background. This is Mountain View Elementary, where I teach seventh and eighth grade English. Um, I feel maybe it's just because I teach English, but I feel like the modern classroom model goes really well with the content that I teach. Um, So, implementing the modern classroom project in rural Appalachia, because that's where I live, way eastern Kentucky. Um, so, what is the modern classroom model? We all kind of know what that is. It's a mixture of blended instruction, self paced structures, and mastery based grading. But in eastern Kentucky and rural Appalachia, a lot of other places too, there are unique obstacles and challenges to the classroom model. When I first began the Modern Classrooms Project Summer Institute, I was most intimidated by creating videos that my students would be utilizing for lessons, assignments, and mastery tests. Um, we had a lot of help from KVEC, which is the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative. And throughout that process, it one of the obstacles was access to quality high-speed internet due to economic suppression. Geological features of the mountains make travel and infrastructure difficult. There's a lack of funding for resources for implementation of new programs and materials for schools in this area, in this region. And there's a social stigma associated with technology and technology for learning. And that's just how it is. But I took the leap and I decided to try and do this in my classroom anyway. And in my head, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be this big, huge switch to teaching a modern classroom. But really, it's not. The modern classroom project is more a tool for still teaching what we've always needed to teach traditionally. It just makes it a lot easier. It changes our outlook on it. So, this is how it works. And these are all pictures from my actual classroom. Teachers create content video lessons before a unit begins. During self-paced component of the model, students will work at their own pace on all work within the unit. Progress trackers are utilized to hold students accountable and motivate them. This opens up teacher availability to assist students one-on-one. Students become more independent learners who are better equipped to collaborate with their classmates. And there is a lot of collaboration going on in these pictures, as you can see. This is when we first started Lord of the Flies. So as a way to open up that unit, I transformed my classroom into a jungle, and I had like jungle ambiance on the smartboard. So then they were still doing, if you look, it's not straying away from traditional education or collaboration. If anything, the modern classroom model opens your classroom up for more collaboration. So all of my kids in my class that we were working there, they have their computers out. They're working on a station activity where they had to go through and complete all these different tasks in order to start the unit over, Lord of the Flies. So blended instruction, basically use of teacher created videos along with in-person instruction and guidance. So it's found on unit websites, all of this is. You can see my unit websites and I'll show those to you later. But basically I utilize Google Sites because that's the platform that our school uses. I create a website for every unit that we learn through, and all the videos are on there, and all of their work is on Google Classroom. Blended instruction, we do notes. Like, just because it's a modern classroom doesn't mean that we're never using paper and pen again. And over here to the left is a link to the note document that I created for my students. They put the lesson objective at the top for every lesson. They go through and take their own notes as they watch the videos. And so that's what it means by blended instruction. In my classroom, the teacher serves as more as a facilitator for learning and as like a classroom leader. So I facilitate the learning and I help them, I guess, lead them to their own instruction, basically. Headphones, Chromebooks, note-taking sheets, and visuals are super helpful in my modern classroom. Self-paced learning. Students are given a game board tracker at the beginning of each unit, as well as shown a pacing guide. Students are made aware of when a unit ends, and the deadline is given for their work. Student progress is monitored using a non-student facing tracker. If a student's struggling, they can be approached and helped quickly. Students who are ahead of pace can also help those behind pace for class dojo points. Not all assignments are mandatory. There's must do, should do, and aspire to do assignments. And every one of these Bitmojis here has a different purpose. So if they see this Bitmoji hitting the books, that is a must do assignment. Everybody has to do it, non-negotiable. If you see the yellow car, that is a should do assignment. If you are struggling in a certain area and you need to get better before you do your mastery check, then you should do that assignment. Aspire to do assignments are ones that are going to try and challenge our learners that are ahead of pace or are gifted students. They do those, they get extra points. And when they fill out their game board completely, the game board will have all three of these kinds of assignments, these different types. So if all of those are filled out, they get a reward at the end of the unit. And if you click this link right here, it'll take you to that document. Mastery-based grading. Students complete mastery checks after each lesson within a unit. In my class, I decided that they needed to get an 80% on a mastery check. If they don't get an 80%, they have to retake it. Now they can choose to retake any mastery check, but they have to get at least an 80% before going on to the next lesson. They can redo these mastery checks as many times as they need, and there's multiple versions of the same mastery check. So that's been kind of hard to implement and make sure I have enough mastery checks, but we work on it. And I always start out with 3. Students are allowed to sit in the alternative seating options while working on mastery checks. I fully believe in collaboration. Students are allowed to help each other constantly. I even have a genius bar at the back of my classroom, so 2 students can go back there and work together if they want. Now I have multiple flexible seating options in my classroom, and whenever they're working on mastery checks, that is a signal, like you need to be in a flexible seat when you're working on mastery checks. You don't need to have help. That is for you and you only. That's how I assess where they are. This ensures that students are doing their own independent work for the check. These can be paper-based or Google Classroom. The first Unit 0 that we did, I realized how much paper I was wasting with the mastery checks. So I switched to a digital version of all of my mastery checks. So I ran into a problem there for a little bit. We were having some issues because it was a couple weeks and I felt like the kids hadn't really understood. I had some that were trying to do mastery checks before they did their lessons, or, they weren't prepared. So then they were having to do multiple mastery checks, try and get an 80%, but they weren't getting the content because they were trying to skip over certain things. So I created this graphic, how to complete a unit in a modern classroom. 1, begin with your unit game board. So always start there. Complete tasks in the order listed in the game spots. So, just like if you're playing a board game, you can't skip over anything. You have to hit every single spot. Go to the first link posted under the given unit on Google Classroom. This will be the link to the unit website where you can watch the lesson videos. So on Google Classroom, I have everything organized into units. The first thing posted under a unit is that unit website. That's where they always should start. Number 3, complete the assignments for the lesson after you've watched the videos and taken the notes. And number 4, complete the final task for the lesson, which is the mastery check. Then move on to the next lesson video, assignment, and mastery check. Links to unit folders in Google Drive. One way that I've been trying to stay really organized, because I feel like that's a huge part of running a modern classroom, is to keep everything together. So, so far we've done Unit 0 in my classroom, and then 7th grade has done their 1st and 2nd unit, and 8th grade has done their 1st and 2nd unit. And over here, if you click these links, it'll take you to the unit folders where all of my materials are for that. Okay. And then this is a picture that I took. We have a really awesome view. That was me on bus duty one morning. A view like that really helps with bus duty. But um, it's understanding and tackling the challenges to do better education in our region, self-advocacy, transformation of a region from the inside out with technology and the Modern Classrooms Project. Because, we're in an underserved area. So every opportunity that we can give our students is what we should be giving them. These are just some pictures from school. This was at Halloween the other day. This is when a whole class of my students were doing one of their Socratic seminars. We always start class with a seminar just because I feel like it's good to get them talking and get them focused. And then this was one of my students was struggling and they were like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so even though it's all digital and it's all online, they still like having a little post-it sometimes with check boxes. I'm like, oh, you need to do 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 assignment. This is me and my contact information is down here. I'm trying to see, let me show you guys a couple of my unit websites while I have you on here. So if I go to sites, this is my favorite unit that we've done so far. It's my 8th grade unit, 2nd unit. I love Halloween. Love all the spooky things. So when students go to Google Classroom, the first thing that will be posted under their unit is the link to the website. So they will start here. I created this unit website for growth through the gruesome. So this was our Halloween kind of lead up in unit, but I'll always have like a short little welcome or introduction video. This is it for, and so then down here, it just talks about the grotesque and the gruesome, talks about what we're going to be reading, gives them kind of like an overview. They know what to expect. We're almost done with Frankenstein, so we're almost done with unit. But up here at the top, so you'll have home lesson 2.1. The students, they have instructions every single time. Watch the video and take your notes. Turn the notes in to be stamped by me so they can go in the binders where they'll have all their stuff together. And then read the Black Cat in Google Classroom and complete the 2.1 assignment. So this is the video for 2.1. I used to explain everything accurate, but I always upload it to Edpuzzle. That way they have questions down here that will hold them accountable as they're watching the video and taking notes.